Jaya Gopi Jana Yashodana Dana Raja Jana Jana Yamnatira Vana Yamnatira Bhagavatam ki Shri Radha Midar Chandra ki Shri Prabhupada ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 39th chapter, verses 13 to 15. Gopyas tattatu pashrutya vabhuvur vyathitab Krishnam Rama Krishna purim netum akruram vrajam agatam. When the young gopis heard that Akrura had come to Vraja to take Krishna and Balarama to the city, they became extremely distressed. Text 14. Kashtitat krita hritapa shvasamlana mukhashriya sramsattukula valaya kesha grantya chakashchana. Some gopis felt so pained at heart that their faces turned pale from their heavy breathing. Others were so anguished that their dresses, bracelets, and braids became loose. Last verse for today, text 15. Anyascha tatanudhyana nivrittasesha vittaya nabhyajana imam lokam atma lokam gata ivam. Other gopis entirely stopped their sensory activities and became fixed in meditation on Krishna. They lost all awareness of the external world, just like those who attain the platform of self-realization. Purport. The gopis were in fact already on the platform of self-realization. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 20:108 states, Jivara Swarupa Hoya Krishna Nitya Das. The self or individual soul is an eternal servant of Krishna. Thus, because they were rendering the most intense loving service to the Lord, the gopis were situated at the highest stage of self-realization. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Kyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Scham Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Pevacha Patitanam Bhavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Once Sanatana Goswami, he asked Lord Chaitanya, "Who am I?" And Lord Chaitanya replied to him, "You are pure eternal spiritual soul which emanates from the spiritual potency. You are completely different from this gross material body and the subtle material body which consists of intelligence and mind and ego." Example of that is like ocean and ocean drop. Like ocean as a whole have all the qualities of and particular components, but if you take a small particle of that small drop, we can examine what is ocean is like. Prabhupada gives examples of fire and particles of fire, and sun rays, gold and golden mind, gold mind. So Lord Chaitanya explained to Sanatana Goswami there's three energies of the Lord. There's internal energy, Chit Shakti, which is spiritual energy from which everything in this universe emanates. Then there's Tatastha Shakti, or marginal energy. It's compared like a rays of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, his emanations, which are we, living entities. And there is a third energy, which is external energy of the Lord, which is Antaragya Shakti, or material energy of the Lord. We can compare spiritual energy to the light, which is very much truth, and we can experience when we don't have a sun. Srila Prabhupada explains this whole world is just dark. We need light here. One beautiful thing I heard once in India, that every day when people in India wakes up, they look at the sky, and if they see the sun, they become very hopeful that, oh, is Surya, the sun, is emanation from Narayana. It's the expansion of the Supreme Lord. And the fact that I see the light means that Lord exists, that there's spiritual world on another end. So become very hopeful. So this spiritual energy is like a light, but this material energy is like darkness. And we, as a marginal energy, we are particles of light, like a sun rays of the sun. Prabhupada explains we as a drop of rain, pure water coming down from the sky to the earth. And in contact with mud, it becomes contaminated. But by the power of the sun, of supreme power, again, this water becomes purified. It goes up in the sky. And in the same way, when we come in contact with Krishna, with the spiritual energy, again, our original nature becomes prominent. This question could be asked, why your eternal living entity, part and parcel of God, why it become attracted to matter? There's two aspects to that. First is that as part and particles of God, we all possess our free will, and we like to examine our free will, and we feel happy when we try to do things in our own way. But also, spirit, on another end, spiritual soul is attracted by Krishna's potencies, which is in this material world, small particles of his vibhudis, of his opulences, in very small, minute parts, but it's attractive to us. Like Krishna explains in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, I'm ability in the man, and I'm a source of everything. I'm a seat of everything. Everything emanates from me. He says, I'm the light of the sun and the moon, and many other things. He explains how he expands himself. Prabhupada compares Maya is like a cloud. It's like a smoke which temporarily covers the sun, but it never can cover completely the sun. It just can cover partially influence of the sun. Spiritual potency or chit potency, it produces Vaikuntha planets, and this marginal potency produces living entities, and external energy, material energy, produces material manifestation. Our situation, many times explained, is very dangerous situation, because we can be either attracted by spirit or by matter. Why is it so? Because of our size, which is extremely small, and that's why we're influenced by one of the energies. And in ultimate sense, according to Jiva Goswami, he explains in Sandarbha number 16, that it's all one energy. But in different conditions, it acts in different ways. The Prabhupada gives example of electric energy. You can use electric energy to produce heat, or you can use same energy to produce cold. And to overcome the influence of inferior energy, material energy, to overcome that and to come in contact with spiritual energy, it requires mercy of the Lord. And to be able to appreciate the mercy, Jiva Goswami explains we have to accept the inconceivable potency of the Lord, that he actually can do that. Even if it can seem impossible from our perspective, how we can ever become liberated from that unfortunate position where we are, but by the Lord's mercy, it can be achieved. I would like to read the prayer, which is every time when we're supposed to go to the altar, perform services related to deity worship. That verse is very much recommended. I am by nature the eternal servant of Krishna, but because of my bad fortune, I have been inimical toward him from time immemorial, and thus I have identified myself with my body and continuously wandered in the cycle of birth and death in the material world, suffering the burning threefold miseries. Now, as a result of some unimaginable good fortune, my spiritual master's mercy has enabled me to know that I am Krishna's eternal servant, an infinitesimal spiritual being, completely apart from the gross and subtle body. And so, by the order of my spiritual master, I have obtained the good fortune of serving his lotus feet, and following his footsteps, the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Shri Radha Mulidhar. And usually after that, there's next verse, which is actually suggested once I read that every time we enter the temple, not only like for deity worship, but actually we should always have this consciousness to be situated on a transcendental platform. Prabhupada, sometimes I was reading in his books how he said it's platform of self-realization. In his class, he said it's a liberated platform. So it's very famous verse, which is explained that I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya or a Shudra, nor am I a Brahmachari, a householder, a Vanaprastha or sannyas. I identify myself only as a servant of the servant of the servant of lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He's like an ocean of nectar, and he's the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He's always existing with brilliance. Naham vipro nachan, nara patir na vivaisha na shito, naham varni na chagriha patir na vanashtaya tepa. Kintu pradhyani kila paramananda purnam vibhader. Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayo Dasa Dasa Anudasaha. So to conclude, example of servants, of best servants of Krishna is one who achieved perfection in that is Hanuman. And what came into my mind is how Adipurusha Prabhu explains our philosophy to his guests on 8th Avenue. He explains our process is not to, in bhakti, is not to come to the Lord with a list of things what we want, but rather we come to the Lord with we give the Lord the blanket form and ask kindly him to fill it with what he wants us to do. So thinking this is such a extraordinary, very simple, but very sublime example of how we should approach the Lord. Like Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whenever persons approach him, he always begin his first words was Dasosmi, I'm the servant. So real service is how I can please the Lord, how I can please the devotees of the Lord. And Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains the process of full surrender to him, and it starts with karma yoga, jnana yoga, buddhi yoga, and concludes in bhakti yoga. And basically, the difference with karma yoga and bhakti yoga which ultimately is one same process. But if you're going to analyze it, what's the difference between karma yoga and bhakti yoga? Basically, is karma yoga is we have our project and we offer it to the Lord as our service. We purify that. But in bhakti yoga, we want to be in Krishna's project to fulfill his will at first. Even we can have our own project, but first consideration is the Lord, and we start with that. So that's our aspiration in Krishna Bhakti. In our aspiration to develop pure unalloyed devotional service is to inquire from the Lord and his devotees, how can we better serve, how we can please. In Finland, in Helsinki ISKCON Temple, we have few very great souls. One is Kalpa Padapa Prabhu. He is now 38 years, Nashtik Brahmachari, all these years doing just puja. And not only puja, he's doing all the puja, like Mangalarati, he bathes the deities, he offers them breakfast, he does breakfast himself. Many times he also does lunch, he offers lunch, and then he dresses deities in the evening, putting them to sleep. Gaura Nitai. But along with him is also cook, who had diabetes, but for last 30 years serving in that capacity, also brahmachari. And I wanted to just conclude with a story what he once told us. His meditations on the spiritual world. He said, spiritual soul goes back to Godhead, and he's like a new bhakta in Goloka Vrindavan. And Lalita Devi comes and said, "Oh my dear, this beautiful kunja here, and Radha and Krishna will soon appear. Can you help me clean it?" And the spiritual soul says, "No, I'm a preacher. I'm not a cleaner." And then Lalita says, "It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. But now I need some help. Can you help me?" But the spiritual spark says, "No, I'm a big preacher." And Lalita Devi approaches third time and says, "Please, I have this request. Radha Krishna is soon coming here. We need to clean this kunja. Help me." And then spiritual soul says, "No, I'm a preacher. I'm not a cleaner." And then Lalita Devi says, "Oh, you want to be big preacher? You should go back to material world." So this is his example, what he gives about proper service attitude, and which we have to have. I wanted to share because this is how we can measure whether we are making advancement in spiritual life or not. Is our taste for spiritual activities, especially for holy name, increases or decreases? So I've been introduced to that by my wife, who is chanting these prayers for 9 years already. They found in Sachinandana Swami book, his living name. It's on pages 110 and 11. And I'm going to read this. It's called Prayer for Meditations. Basically, every single word of Maha Mantra is, for each word, there's a prayer. So one can chant Maha Mantra, and on each round he can have, or she can have, different meditation. So first, Hare. Hey Hare, Machitam Hitabhava Bandhanam Mochaya. O Radha, please capture my inner heart and deliver me from the bondage of material life. Krishna, second meditation. Oh Krishna, please pull my heart to you. Hare, third meditation. Oh Radha, please still my heart with your sweetness. Krishna, oh Krishna, please purify my heart by giving me, through your devotees, knowledge of how to worship you. Then fifth meditation. Krishna, oh Krishna, please make me steady in devotion to your name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Then sixth meditation. Krishna, oh Krishna, please may I develop taste for you. Seventh. Hare, oh Radha, please make me qualified for serving you. Eighth. Hare, oh Radha, please show me how to serve you. Ninth. Oh Radha, please tell me of your cherished pastimes with your most beloved. 10th. Rama. Oh Rama, please tell me of your cherished pastimes with your most beloved. 11th. Hare. Oh Radha, please show me your pastimes with your most beloved. 12th. Rama. Oh Rama, please show me your pastimes with your most beloved. Number 13. O Rama, please engage me in such services as remembering your name, form, qualities, and pastimes. 14th. O Rama, please make me qualified for your service in this way. 15th. O Radha, accepting me as your own, take pleasure in me. And 16th has two meanings. Hey, Hare Maya Saha Ramasva. One translation is, O Radha, please enjoy with me, or O Radha, take me along with you when you enjoy pastimes. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, dear Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis. Any reflections, comments, critiques, corrections?
Thank you, Gopal Krishna Prabhu. Wonderful class. I was thinking of the quote that Vaisheshika Prabhu always uses. He says, "We'll live to be corrected."
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you very much for reminding us of that. Krishnadaya Prabhu, do you have any critiques for Gopal Krishna? Any corrections? No? Any encouragement for him? He did such a good job giving class today.
Yeah, I was like, that was very much appreciated. Like, of course, I joined a little bit late. I was on and off. But that last pastime or the story graphically explained, like the mood with which, we can enter the spiritual world. It's like two very simple seva, like assist, the senior devotees, not have any tags that I am this, I am that. So I'm a preacher. So our only designation is Gopi Bhartar Padakamalayo Dasa 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 Das. So thank you so much for reinforcing that point, Prabhu. Just a silly question, like if we don't have that mode, will we be able to enter spiritual world in the very first place? Because this is like a purification state, right? Like unless we get that mode, I mean, we will not be able to go right. If you have these tags that I am this, I am that, if you have those designation tags, I mean, just, I don't know.
Probably your question contains the answer already. But it's like a prison. And in prison, even nowadays, it happens that if a prisoner, he corrects himself, he develops higher culture, then in prison, like basic mood is when he become like normal and behaves actually nicely. So, and of course, mercy is there, but there's good chance actually that he can go faster from the jail. He can be released. So this is our hope. So we want to develop this proper attitude and culture of the spiritual world. So we be able to be and serve in an environment where devotees of the Lord are serving Krishna in this very favorable mood. So we become transferred, even still living in a material world, which is like a prison. We already behave like a normal living entities. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Saki, she has something.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful class. Yeah, it really stood out to me how you were saying those two examples of those saintly devotees from Finland who just for so many years, and I met them when I went to Finland, and so many, like these devotees for so many years have just been so steady in their service, doing what one may perceive as very simple service, just doing the same thing every day for so many years. But actually it's in that that steadiness and service over so many years that advancement takes place and mercy happens. And one time I heard one story of a Prabhupada disciple who I think lives in like some movie, I forget which temple, but told like this person also is a pujari for so many years. And he told one devotee, like just every day you chant your rounds, you do your sadhana, you do your service. And this devotee was doing the Mangal Arti every day and doing the puja every day and the dressing every day. And he said, and all perfection will come. You will realize Krishna. And that just really stood out to me, like the simplicity of Krishna consciousness and just the power of steadiness. And I mean, immediately it came to my mind, like we have an example of that in our temple, like Adi Purush Prabhu. He's just been for so many years, like steadily every single day doing the program, the guest program and the food distribution. And, after an all-night shift, coming here to the morning program every single day without fail. I don't think he's ever even like taken a vacation. He's never even gone to India. Like just like an example of that simplicity and steadiness, which brings such a firm faith because Krishna reciprocates with that. So that really stood out to me. Thank you so much.
Still have 10 minutes, so please.
Yeah.
Would like to.
Bhima Prabhu's hand was up.
Bhima, okay. Bhima Prabhu.
Oh, Gopal, thank you very much for your class today. It's so nice to hear your gentle voice. In a world of, at least my own mind, aggressive voices. It very inspirational. The things that you brought up. It's always nice to hear about the life of a gentle pujari who is so steady, rock steady, absorbed. There are other, we say I'm not a preacher, I'm not a pujari. There are so many adventures that Krishna can give us. It can be a slow and steady rowing up across the ocean like a pujari, or one can be thrown in the storms and the waves and the turmoil of traveling, of Sankirtan, of being in charge of a center, of having to be a manager, of having to greet guests, host them and treat them as Krishna's potential devotees and as Krishna's children. So there's all, I'm not of this, I'm not that. The one thing that I can remember when you said that the prayer, Krishna, show me your pastimes, Krishna, show me, show me the delight and the wonder and what we are striving for. But also when when they asked Prabhupada, what does the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra mean? And I only after like 30 years have come to really understand that when Prabhupada said, please engage me in your service. When Prabhupada said that Hare Krishna mantra, it just, Krishna, please engage me in your service. We don't say which service. We don't even say, you know, I want to see your scenes, loving scenes with Radharani or with the gopis. It's just engage me in your service. And that may be in the maw of Manhattan, in a building, in a basement, on the road, on a temple, on the altar. You know, it may be here, it may be there. The one thing I'm always reminded of is that because I'm, you know, on a farm and I see life and death, the animals tend to come and go a lot quicker than humans, a whole lot quicker. And Radhanath Maharaj mentioned this when he went to India. He sat on the burning ghats and just meditated on the people coming, the funeral day after day after day. We understand that when we die, when this body, when we're laying there and we take our last breath, we are no longer that person. We are no longer the father, the brother, the sister, the mother, the pujari, the Sankirtan devotee. We're no longer that. We leave that body, we leave that upadi, that designation behind, and we are released from the body. And based on our desire, our true desire, because that's all we have in the final moment, everything's stripped down to what was it that we desired. And then, of course, that brings us to that point. Did we always desire Krishna's service? And then Krishna may take you back to Godhead, or he may send you somewhere else to engage in preaching. So you may be helping Lalita, or you may be engaged in preaching again in the material world. That's how I always figured Prabhupada was, that, you know, he was always a pure devotee. It is said that even as a child, he was doing Rath Yatra. You know, his whole sole purpose was to preach. In the end, to become that prophecy of Lord Nityananda, every town and village. We could see the whole arc of that in Prabhupada's Leela, that Prabhupada said, Krishna, just please engage me in your service. And Krishna, and he had the patience, and it all happened. So this is the adventure, and thank you very much, Prabhu, for this nice lecture that inspired these thoughts that I just had. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Very much, Prabhu. I think Adipurusha Prabhu would like to speak something.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. There's no place else where you can hear this. It's such a refreshing and nourishing, simple truth that we are the servant of Krishna. And we were gathered together with some devotees at 26 2nd Avenue 2 weeks ago. And we asked them, well, why do you come here? Why do you come here? Why do you come here? Yeah.
There's so many reasons, but to serve Krishna.
To serve Krishna, right? Yeah, because they had many different valid explanations of what I come for enlightenment. I come to be with the other Russian devotees. I come to, you know, to get a relief from my other activities that are disturbing my mind. But our final conclusion in that gathering was, we're here to please Krishna. And the Bhagavatam class in the morning, we come together like this as an offering to the Lord for his pleasure. And why is Krishna pleased? Yeah, because Krishna wants something good for us, because he knows it's good for us. So we want to please the Lord. And it's always good to mention, as has already been spoken very nicely by Prabhu, that the highest service, Krishna says, no one is more dear to me than one who shares this message with others. That as we give it, as we reach out, then Krishna is pleased. The Christian analogy of like, there's the good shepherd and he has so many sheep, but one goes lost. So he leaves the 99 sheep and he goes to look for that lost sheep. And when someone helps somebody come back, Krishna is very pleased. We had an experience a couple of days ago. This one guest, Andre, yeah, he came to the office and he said, I'm looking at all these pictures and I'm getting goosebumps. Look at my arm. I'm getting goosebumps
So cool.
just from looking at pictures of Krishna and Buddha and Jesus. And he said, I'm out, can't wait. And he actually begged us to come to the morning program. He came here, he had a really nice conversation with Manohar, and he came out to help with prasad distribution. And it's so magical that you have a lit candle and a candle that's not lit, you bring it together. And Prabhu, Gopal Krishna walked into the 8th Avenue. Immediately he met somebody from Finland. He was talking to her for about an hour. You know, it was just like instant. The chemistry is there, and it's very beautiful. Yesterday, what's today? Saturday. It was Thursday night. I was just arriving there. I wasn't even up to the dining area yet. I was coming in the front door, and there was a guy going out, and he went, "Oh, you work here." When they see the apron, they know you work here. Your servant's garment. And I said, "Yeah." And as a reflex, I said, we use the income from the guest program to distribute hot meals for the homeless people in the street. We do this in God's name. You want to help? Yeah. And it was like a minute and a half of exchange. And then we turned around Friday. There he was at the kitchen, jumped in. I talked to him again last night. He's going to come out again Monday. That we have access to devotional service. It's pleasing to Krishna if we engage in service. And it's also very pleasing to Krishna if we share that access with others by some means or another. It's so hilarious how Krishna works through us to encourage other people to do something as an offering to the Lord. And imagine this, some people, they don't have any service. They grow up and they go to school and they get married and they get a job and they do this and they do that. And they have no service. They have no service to Krishna, a conscious effort to please the Lord. And they work very hard and they have so many activities. But what is the point of it? We were talking to Arjun the other day about this dog going along First Avenue. We just go, where is he going? What's he looking forward to besides his next bowel movement or whatever, And there's like, what a life. So when we have access to devotion, so we share it with others, that's very pleasing to Krishna. And we feel it. We feel it. Anyway, I'll go to Prabhupada. Thank you for the class. Yeah, I never know what to say. I never plan what to say, but I do pray to Srila Prabhupada. Is there anything you want us to say, please let us know. Otherwise, I'll just be quiet and sit here. Well, go to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prabhu. Actually, just to conclude, maybe we still have 30 seconds. The same. One and a half, Prabhu? 1.5. Please. Please.
Well, thank you for giving class, Prabhu. It's so refreshing to hear about this goal of being the servant of the servants. So my question was, along the way there, how do we go about maneuvering the situations where there might be a service that we can't really perform? Like, at least in my experience I've had, where out of maybe ego or pride, I'll want to accept a service. And then difficulties happen, or either things are overlapped schedule wise, or I don't perform the service very well, or it causes more issues uh, than the help. But as we can answer that after.
Much now is darshan time. Hare Krishna.
Nandini Radhika Ki Jai. Okay. All right, this was the class. Bhima Prabhu, did you take darshan or what? Is the phone in your pocket? How can you do that? How can you be so duplicious, Bhima Prabhu? I'm messing with you, Prabhu. We love you. Okay, any deep thoughts? It's Afterglow Sunday. We can go over time. We're opening it up for deep thoughts and realizations. Okay, and horses. Kartik Prabhu says, thank you all for your steady service. Hare Krishna. Yes, Kartik Prabhu, thank you. for your association. Okay, it's very nice seeing everybody, and it's also very nice being seen by you, dear devotees. I can sense the purificatory effect that it has on me when I'm being seen by the devotees so steadily. So, yeah, let's wrap it up. It's Sunday. Go to the temple, chant, dance, feast, watch animals die if you're on the farm. You're saying something, Beam? Can hear.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with me? Everything is wrong.
Yeah,
With
watch animals die.
you said that. It's very sober.
I'm going to come down to New York and take care of your hamster, okay? Your gerbil. You can watch that gerbil die, okay? Then you can learn what life is all about.
Yeah.
I'll hit him with a ping pong paddle.
My wife is waiting for the hamster to be transferred further. She can't wait for that to happen. So that's a good thing. Because the guy stinks, I tell you.
You should get two of them, a male and a female, and create more gerbils. As long as you make them Krishna conscious, Prabhu, you can have hundreds of gerbils.
Yes. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Thank you. With this wonderful and deep thought from Bhima Prabhu, we're going to wrap it up. Wishing you a very fulfilling Sunday and very fulfilling life. All of you, we love you. We need you. Come again tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama.